Welcome to Up at Noon. I'm Greg Miller, and are you ready for a show with infinite possibilities? Super. Brian Altano is here to pay tribute to the late, great Harold Ramis, and then Jeffrey Stiefel is here to tell me how he took my favorite DC superheroes and mashed them up with MOBA gameplay to create Infinite Crisis. But first, news you care about. The PlayStation 4 launched in Japan last week, and Sony's new console did pretty well. Are you ready for the good news? Yeah! In Japan, 320,000 PlayStation 4s were sold. That's great for our industry. There you go. Round of applause. Now, are you guys ready for the bad news? No. Yes. Each of those consoles came with a copy of Knack. That's serious. We are very sorry, Japan, that had to happen to you. Now, in related Japan news, despite struggling sales worldwide, the Wii U recently outsold Xbox 360. They're getting there. When asked for a comment, Microsoft said, quote, "We put the Xbox 360 out in Japan?" The director of the original Die Hard film, John McTiernan, has been released from prison after serving a sentence for lying to the FBI. He reportedly plans to relax, have dinner with his wife, and then murder everyone that worked on the last two Die Hard movies. An artist has created a custom poster for every single episode of Breaking Bad. The posters chronicle some of the show's most memorable and infamous moments. Let's see them. All right, yeah, you got the Tortuga and the turtle there, and the Gus, and then the first cook. That's awesome. I like those a lot. But Breaking Bad isn't the first time he's done this, believe it or not. It turns out that the first show he actually did this for was How I Met Your Mother. Let's take a look at those. I remember this episode. They drank at the bar for a while, and yeah, okay, and he didn't meet the mother. I can remember. Yeah, of course. This one, Barney did a bunch of funny stuff and talked about his suit. Oh, this was a touching one. When the girl in the show, she was sad that she'd never have kids. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to forget this one, the Halloween episode. And then, of course, when the mother showed up. That's how we all felt. And then, yeah, that's how we feel now. Not many people watching that show anymore. And finally, legendary actor and comedy writer Harold Ramis passed away this week, leaving a huge hole in our hearts. He was a hero to us here on Up at Noon, and to honor his work and his life, we put together this special tribute.
Growing up means watching your heroes become human. Your action figures break after a hard fall, and their spring-loaded kick becomes a flail. You find out the Tooth Fairy, Santa Claus, and professional wrestling aren't real. Your father cries in front of you for the first time, and his invisible Superman cape falls to the floor. Harold Ramis is one of those heroes to me. Finding a picture of him where he isn't smiling is about as difficult as finding a scene from Ghostbusters that deserves to be on the cutting room floor. Yes, Ghostbusters, a movie about snarky New Yorkers that didn't want to work real jobs because they were too dazzled by the unknown. That resonated with me as a kid, probably because none of the adults around me with conventional career plans took my hobby seriously either. And I never really let go of that stubborn ability to keep being imaginative in situations where everyone else was serious. Why? Because that's what the Ghostbusters did. There should always be a green ghost wrecking everything in your ritzy hotel lobby, as insane as that sounded to rational people. The minute you stop believing that something so wildly impossible could happen, you stop being a Ghostbuster, and you start becoming the snobby hotel manager that doesn't believe in anything. Through death, Harold Ramis stopped being a movie hero and became a human, but we should never forget what made him so heroic to begin with. Because in his films and through his writing, he will always be a hero, in that same place in our imaginations where that action figure springs from the packaging on that first car ride home from the toy store. Where there's $1 under your pillow, a present under the tree, and a professional wrestler elbow dropping your television. Where your father still has a bulletproof S on his chest and nothing will ever take him down. And that's why no matter how hard the world tries to turn your heroes into humans, no matter how much it seems like there's no more room for your imagination in the face of reality, it's important to always remember one thing. Always be the Ghostbuster. Never be the hotel manager.
No joke here. That was touching, Brian. Thank you so much. Thanks for saying what so many fans like myself have been struggling too. Now, speaking of struggling, somber, respectful Greg way. You're allowed to laugh. It's okay. I've been struggling to learn how to play a MOBA so that I can enjoy Superman and Batman's next adventure. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Infinite Crisis's Jeffrey Stiefel. As I live and breathe, Jeffrey Stiefel.
Nice to meet you.
All right, so you're here to talk Infinite Crisis.
I am.
But you're here for a more groundbreaking occasion.
Yes.
You are the first Up at Noon guest ever to completely miss the show.
That's true.
It's not your fault.
It's true.
We film in San Francisco. It's always fogged in. And we've had close calls before. Troy Baker had to skip lunch. Jennifer Hale skipped lunch. They come in, they sat right down. But you guys were the first ever to be pushed completely out.
We tried to talk the pilot into doing the landing anyway.
You gotta go.
But he wouldn't.
We gotta talk about video games on IGN.
They restrained us, took us back to our seats, and we just kind of had to
Then they just circled back to LAX.
Exactly.
Well, thank you. That's why we have the two-man audience. But we're happy you're here. I'm excited for Infinite Crisis because when I think superheroes, I think lanes.
Yes. Absolutely.
Tell me, I'm fascinated with Infinite Crisis. I've been playing the beta, but I'm fascinated with where did the idea to get DC heroes into a MOBA start? Were you looking to make a MOBA, or were you looking to make a DC game, or was it all at once?
We were talking about a lot of things all at once. So definitely, DC is an interesting property. We're like, what could we do with DC that's kind of new and unique? It would be cool. We were also talking about what's the next thing for Turbine? What's the right thing for us to do? Kind of want to get back to something a little more strategy oriented. We started thinking about MOBAs, and then it was the more we talked about it, it was like, let's see, MOBAs. What's important for MOBAs? Lots of different characters that are unique and cool and have lots of different powers. DC would be interesting for that. And then we started talking about the whole multiverse thing, right? Because, the depth of DC is huge, but there's only so many characters that people really recognize.
Right.
And they are very well defined, right? Batman is Batman, Superman is Superman, Wonder Woman is Wonder Woman. But what if, we had the multiverse?
Don't forget about
Superboy. Number one favorite, that's right. I heard something about that, yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll have to work on Nightmare Superboy for you.
Yes,
How's that?
That's perfect.
How's
if you
that?
get a Nightmare Con-El, that's
we'll
exactly
do
what I want.
like a gothic horror Con-El.
Yeah,
so
okay.
There you have it. We will be working on that next.
So let's rewind a bit then.
Yeah.
I want to talk a bit about how you're talking about Turbine. So did you have to go pitch DC? You're like, what do we want to do? We want to make a MOBA. It'd be cool to have a property, and then well, what about DC Comics?
Yeah, it's sort of a joint collaboration, right? So we had become a part of Warner Brothers, so it's basically Turbine and Warner Brothers and DC all talking together about, what's the best thing for us to do. And we got more and more excited about this. So.
How close did you get to a Harry Potter MOBA?
No. I think there's been rumors that we've been making a Harry Potter MMO for about 10 years now. So
wow, then it's almost done. I was going to say, it's going to ship any day now.
Yeah.
Okay, so then that gets going. Explain for kids at home, or my mother who always watches this show, what is a MOBA?
A MOBA is an online battle arena. Basically, a MOBA is a competitive tournament in an arena between two teams of 5, essentially, generally speaking. So I get a team of 5 together, you get a team of 5 together. We come onto this map, which is pretty well defined, and then we fight over territory. And ultimately, I'm going to destroy your territory. You're going to destroy my territory.
I thought you were
just
saying you were going to beat me.
No. Ultimately,
I believe that.
Ultimately, well, I don't say. My devs would probably say otherwise. Like they give me.
We might have an even match going here.
Well, hopefully
my
not,
Shazam versus whatever you bring to the table.
I think Green Lantern's my guy right now.
Okay.
And it's a short strategy game, basically. So it's like a strategy game that you might play for hours and hours and hours, but it takes place competitively and takes place in like a 30 to 50 minute sort of window.
Yeah.
So the whole advancement path that you go through when you're playing a strategy game happens sort of in real time. So it's like taking sort of the elements of strategy game that are really, really cool and then adding action to it, making it really, really fast and responsive. And you've got other people there who are trying to kill you every moment, and you're trying to do the same thing. And so it's sort of, you have to make those decisions that you make strategically right then and there.
These MOBAs are the hot business right now.
Oh, yeah.
IGN just hired all these young kids, these young bucks to come in, try to replace me. But I was talking to one of them, and when he was trying to explain why he loves MOBAs, he was talking about how every match is basically an RPG game to itself,
yeah,
right?
Exactly
you
right.
come in at level 1, and then you go, and you get these powers, and you build out the character you want for that match, and then next time you do it all over again.
Yeah, and then you have a chance to come back and learn, take the things that you learned and apply them again, and it's sort of like that whole rinse and repeat of I did well here, I didn't do well here, I saw what that guy did there. I'm totally going to do that the next time I play. And then, 40 minutes later, you're back in with your team, playing again, trying that thing and getting immediate feedback about that. And it's all about skill. right? It's about my skill as a player is just as important as the skills that my character has or anything else. So it's in that respect, it's like a sport. And
right.
They
this
talk
is
about
why
esports
people
all the
always
time,
watch it, right? These
yeah.
esports they're talking about.
Because it is a sport. It's like you get better and better and better. And when you play with, like, I'm sure you had the experience when you play with some of the kids you're talking about who are really good at it.
Yes, everyone other than me is one of those kids.
We've been having pro players come in, and the fact that there are things like pro players is just amazing.
Yeah.
These guys are pros, and we have them come in early on, even before we started closed beta, to play with us. And a lot of the devs, everybody knows I'm crappy at the game, but some of our devs, yeah,
it's okay. It's okay. You and I can start rolling together online.
I'm getting better. I'm getting better. But all of our lead devs and stuff have been playing MOBAs forever, and they think they're absolutely killer and they're the best players ever. And then the pros come in, and it's just insane.
It's another level.
These guys' brains work differently than ours.
Right.
And they've played it and they know all the little nuances of what's happening, and it comes down to microseconds. They're helping us balance the game, basically saying, you realize that this side of the map takes, 0.09 seconds longer to get from here to here. That's unfair. You need to change that, right?
And you guys are like, okay.
We're like, yep,
sure.
You're absolutely right.
We wanted to see if you'd catch it, actually.
Exactly.
That was more of it.
Yeah, good catch.
So, like I'm talking about these kids, the MOBAs being the big business.
Mm-hmm.
The big name, obviously, right now is Dota 2. Now, is this one of those things where, is it similar to how every time there's an MMO, people are like, is this the WoW killer, blah, blah, blah. Is this the same, do you have a chip on the shoulder coming out? Are you trying to be the Dota killer?
No, I mean, of course, we've been in this situation before, right, with Lord of the Rings, which was another thing that I worked on, and it's not about trying to kill anyone. It's about, well, in the game, it's about killing everyone.
About killing everybody.
No, it's what is it about this game that we're excited about? What is it that we can bring to players that, is what they want, and also maybe something that's a little fresh, a little different than what they're expecting. And so we're really focused on what makes this game great. We want to offer an alternative for people who are interested in playing these games. And we also think, because it's DC, because of some of the things that we're doing with the game, that we can actually help grow the audience. Because even though there's so many people playing these games, it's the largest niche in history. And so there's tons of people out there who, even people who aren't, casual gamers, people who are like strategy gamers, RPG gamers, who would enjoy this kind of gameplay, but haven't tried it because it sounds like this real scary sort of competitive thing. So
this is what I was talking about, right? Is like I had never played an MMO until DC Universe Online.
Yeah.
And then 500 hours later, like I'm still a noob at it, but
so
I
you're
love
about
it.
Quarter of the way through.
Exactly.
Now.
Yeah. I'm at least to end game content. My tier's coming up. My combat rating is actually in the 90s now, which is really cool.
Awesome.
But I digress. The same thing, right? When I look at Dota, I was just like, all right, it's fantasy and whatever. But when you put, when you guys showed the Coast City map.
Yeah, exactly.
When you showed Wonder Woman, Batman, and Doomsday, and I was like, I got to learn how to play MOBAs now.
And you already have a relationship with those people, right?
Right.
You kind of know who they are. You've been wanting to play them forever. You get to play them now.
Yeah.
You get to play against them. You get to play different aspects of their personality. That was also cool about it, right? You look at Batman. Batman's a lot of things. Batman's like the gadget guy. Batman's the sort of dark vigilante. He's many different types of people that all make up who Batman is, and they're kind of in conflict with each other sometimes. So with the multiverse, we basically are able to create a character around each of those basic aspects and take it all the way. So you want to be, a dark vigilante. How about, Nightmare Batman? How about you're a vampire and you're actually really violent and biting people in the neck and killing them and stuff like that? Or you're gadget guy, so you're going to be Gotham by Gaslight Batman, and you're going to have sonic weapons and all kinds of stuff like that. So,
or I just want to be creepy and be the Butcher Joker.
Exactly. He's
the scariest one of all the
Joker,
people.
Right?
I don't.
He's definitely creepy with the
dreams.
ham full of rats and stuff like that. Yeah, but you can be Batman and still play the game the way you want to play it. So I want to be Batman, but I don't really want to be gadget guy. I want to be violent guy. So I can do that. I can actually still be Batman and play that. So it's really cool for that.
So when you're making the game, did it start with a story, or did it start with MOBA maps and then trying to figure out how to piece together? Is there a story other than the fact that there's the multiverse, which all DC Comics fans know about, of course. Which Superboy, of course, is always the key of.
Superboy.
You might have heard of him. Connell, big deal.
Yeah. You like that guy?
I like him a lot.
Both together, right? So we started talking about story. You're right. There's no narrative, right? But story is all about the characters, where they come from, what's going on in the universe, basic story. The universe is falling apart. All these different universes are crashing together. It's loosely based on the original Infinite Crisis kind of concept of 52 universes. Sure. But that's really kind of it in terms of narrative. It's more about, out of this, the opportunity for each of these characters has their own story. Where did I come from? Which of these? We started with these 6 universes, and they all kind of have a little story, a background story about why they exist, how they came to be. And then we actually try to bring that story, the character sort of relationships together. I don't know if you noticed when we were playing the game, the characters talking to each other sometimes. Yeah, and that's all sort of, that's as close to story as we actually get. Because this is an action game. Narrative is really not, No.
Your
narrative is the one that matters.
Exactly,
right?
right.
The story that you can tell about how you killed everybody.
Yeah, well, match by match, right? The fact that, oh man, I was doing this, and then I was doing something, and then Nightmare Batman was over there. But I understand.
So it's more about context and sort of tone and feel, and where the character's coming from than it is narrative.
Now, we said all that, but you are doing a comic backstory to this.
Yes, exactly.
Tell me a little bit about that guy.
Yeah, so actually just this past week, DC announced that they're doing a digital comic which is going to flesh out some of the backstory. And so if you're into comics and you're playing the game, you will get some more backstory about, well, how did these particular characters that we're using in the multiverse, how did this come about? What's happening in the crisis right now? Why did this occur? More than just everything's in crisis all the time. And yeah, then it's going to be a print comic. And it's going to be really, really cool. They announced a character, Two-Face, that's going to be sort of on the cover and going to be one of the major characters and that we don't have in our game currently. And so that's
you better
sort
get
of the
working
give
on
and
that.
take.
You probably should get him in the game.
Okay.
I know. I hate to send you off with more work.
Well, it's cool. It's been this give and take. They also have a lot of statues that they've been making. So they made some this past year, 3 really cool statues.
Right.
And then they just announced these posable action figures at Toy Fair that I think they're making like 5 or 6 of them to start. They're going to be coming out, and they're all based on characters in the game.
So now, what is that like? Like, you were a comic book fan before, right?
Awesome.
But now to go and create actual lore, to have your toys in comic books.
It's a dream come true, right?
Yeah.
And it goes all around. It's like a circle.
Yeah.
So everything that we're doing is based on stuff that they created in the first place, right? And so we're just kind of riffing on that. They've been pretty open to us riffing on certain things. So some of the characters that exist, like Gaslight Batman, have existed. Nightmare Batman was like Crimson Mist, I think is what he was called back then. So some of them exist. Others we've just created. Atomic Wonder Woman never existed before.
Yeah.
And so now you've got Wonder Woman from this sort of like post-apocalyptic, Mad Max kind of world, walking around with a stop sign and a chainsaw on the end of it. And then next thing you know, they're like, wow, this is a really cool design. We're going to make a 9-inch statue out of it, and there it is. So, and then they're working on the comics, and they've brought some characters into it that we hadn't started working on yet. So now that gives us opportunity to start working on that. They even made some of the statues around costumes that we made, not even actually full characters. We have this pajama party Harley.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen the design for it.
I've seen it.
It's pretty wacky. So her mallet is is actually just a teddy bear on a stick, and she's wearing onesie pajama bottoms and stuff like that. And so next thing you know, that's one of the statues that they're making. So
Seems like DC likes making money.
They do.
Merchandising.
And they like experimenting with really wacky stuff too, which is really cool.
Do you feel then this is like, I guess, the best time to be creating it? It seems like forever, right? I remember the old days when it was like, man, Death and Return of Superman's coming to Genesis, and I can't wait, and then there'd be like this void of anything happening. Now it seems like there's MMOs, there's action, there's story.
There's a lot going on, with comics in general right now, in all media. So yeah, it's perfect time. It's great. And they're really excited about sort of getting back into the whole Infinite Crisis universe. It had been quiet for a while, I think, in the comics.
It's New 52.
Yeah,
I don't
New
even
52,
know.
right? New and weird, or 52
Yeah.
on our side. So, and it's endless. There's absolutely no end to what we can do.
All right. Well, final question.
Yeah.
I want you to tell me the 3 coolest ability moves, powers in the game people need to see when they get their hand on it. Because when's it coming out? People can play it soon, right?
Yeah, so open beta. First of all, they can play right now. Anyone who wants to go to infinitecrisis.com can actually register, log in, and play.
Oh, okay.
But our official,
That's really soon.
Yeah, now.
Yeah.
But the official open beta starts on March the 14th.
Okay.
And that's when we're going to have a new build. We're going to have a lot of new stuff in the game. We also are going to be launching 3 new characters on that day.
Who you got for me?
Well, we got Mecha Superman, who's from the Mecha world.
Sure, that makes sense.
You got to be seen to be believed. He is so awesome. Aquaman, who people have been screaming for a long time.
Yeah.
And then Green Arrow.
Ooh, Green Arrow.
Yeah, Green Arrow.
Do you watch
awesome.
the show Arrow?
Yes.
Good Lord, is that show good?
Yeah, in fact, just last night we were doing some stuff with some of the Arrow folks who were helping us out.
Rub that in my face.
Yeah, no. It wasn't as cool as what we're doing here. But
Okay,
it was fun.
good. Well, I meant more like I've been trying to
even
get
close.
that Felicity Smoke on the show. She doesn't respond to tweets.
No?
No, well, she's busy. She's making a show.
We'll talk to her.
All right, good. Thank you. Grease some wheels for me.
Oh, yeah.
3 coolest powers.
Yeah. So, Vampire Batman.
Yeah.
Vampire Batman, his ultimate attack.
Okay. What does it
Feral
look like?
Embrace.
Okay.
So he basically jumps up on top of you, grabs you from behind, and bites you in the neck.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Not a lot of games where you can do that.
No.
Let's see. God, there's so many of them. Green Lantern.
Yeah.
This is a character I just started playing recently. His ultimate attack is dropping an F-16 construct on you.
Not bad.
Yep, pretty cool. What's another really, because there's so many really great ones.
The
I
third
can't
one you'll
choose
find
from all
out
of
when
them.
you go to
The third one you're gonna-
infinitecrisis.com and download the game.
Third one you're going to choose.
Is that the right
Tell us.
URL? I just
yes,
made that up.
infinitecrisis.com. Yeah, absolutely.
That was close. I was really worried about that. Jeffrey.
Oh, great.
Thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you so much. I
Everybody,
appreciate it.
go play Infinite Crisis.
Please.
Thank you to Brian Altano, Jeffrey Stiefel, and you, my audience. If you want to be in that audience, go to IGN.com/up-at-noon for details. Sometimes we remember to invite you. As always, Brian and I will be responding to comments the first hour of this video is live, so come tell us your favorite DC Comics character. Mine? Superboy. Con-El. Post-crisis, pre-New 52. He was the best. We'll be back next Monday at noon, but until then, I'm going back to bed.